big one in the barn in Minnesota tomorrow night. So this is I know it's really important for Minnesota. It's just as important for us. As you can see, we got a great battle of about 5 or 6 teams with still a chance to win the Big Ten regular season championship, get one of the first 4 byes in the Big Ten tournament. So there's a lot at stake right now in all these games. I'm really pleased with our win over Maryland, even more so after they went to Iowa and won last night. The Penn State game last night just showed that we lost to a team that's had a tough year, but certainly has some talent. And it's a great time right now in the Big Ten. We got all these teams, 7, 8, 9, that were all trying to get in the Big Ten tournament. One of the teams that maybe not be a bubble team right now could go in and win the tournament. So this game is important. We're doing everything we can to get ready. We've used the last 3 days to get some rest, but also retool and get ready for the Gophers. So it is we do want to know from you, and the only thing I would talk about this weekend is a press conference after this game, what day you want to do it, but our focus has been 100% on Minnesota.
Mario?
John, the beginning of the year, several players had trouble making their free throws, but that's kind of improved recently. How has that helped the team, and is there anything that's behind that improvement?
I think just a lot of hard work has really helped with it. We've really worked at it. And you get on that big stage and you got to make those free throws, and you're all alone out there. You sort of get used to it. But the biggest example is Xavier right now. That his improvement is because he goes to the foul line as much as anybody. That's been a big deal. So we don't get too concerned about foul shooting. Last year was the worst year we've ever had, but we were good enough to still have a pretty good year.
Jay?
John, last game out, you guys had to go up against 2 bigs, in Fernando and Smith at Maryland. So what can you take from the success that you had against them and then use it in this game where you're going to go up against Jordan Murphy? And it looks like Oturu has been getting a lot of
he's really been playing well. I think it would be the other way around. What was your lack of success against Stevens at Penn State? How that turned you around to realize that there's a physical element of guarding in the post that you just can't keep backing down until they turn and put you in the basket. And I thought we did a great job of that with the big guys from Maryland, and now we got to do it again. I mean, they got seniors, they got juniors, they got grad transfers. They're an older team than we are, and hence they're usually the older, the more physical. And so we're going to have to be physical with them. It's their arena. Remember, they lead the league in free throws. 2-point percentage, I think, is extremely high. They're a physical team, and that Murphy and all those guys, they'll put us in the basket. So we got to make sure that we guard our yard, but at the same time, do not let them get too close to the basket, because 2 things happen. Then Murphy, even on a miss, if he's close to the basket, is going to get the rebound. He's so quick. He's really a rare athlete.
And then I know that you guys have had some success going into Williams Arena before, but is there anything that you tell the freshmen before every trip that they go, just about how unique of an atmosphere it is, from the raised floor to the fans to everything?
Yeah, and the floor is not as raised as it used to be. When we used to have the manager fall off the end, we don't do that anymore. So it is I actually think it was John Doe, our trainer, would fall off the end. And so it's not that as different as it used to be, but it's still different. No, not really. They have to experience for the first time. And actually, because we did not go there last year, most of our team has never been there. It's just John and Xavier would have been there, I guess. And Charles wouldn't have traveled. So there's 2 guys that have ever been there.
Chris?
At this point in the season, there are no secrets anymore. How tough is it offensively to...
We got a ton of secrets.
Okay.
We're holding them back. We're holding them back, but go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of stuff on film, so how hard is it to score, and does it make it tougher when you're playing a team a second time?
Yes and no, because we have a sense of how they're going to guard us, and then we know, we've seen so many different things right now. I think it's... we know probably what we want to do, but at the same time, depending on how they guard us or what their attack is. But doing it in game speed in huddles is really, it comes down to a bunch of individuals trying to figure this out as you see that. So people are still, you know, as we go through the year, I know we are always changing to try and stay ahead of things. Are we, just because a play worked last game doesn't mean we're going to run it. We know that team's been practicing it all week. So I'll go both ways to go where we're successful, and at the same time say we're not doing that until we're holding that back until we counter it a few times.
And then having Steve Fisher in the '89 team.
No, it's tremendous.
Just talk a little bit about that.
It's tremendous. So we're not talking about
Right.
Michigan State. We're talking about having first of all, having a reunion
Right.
again, where we think we got tremendous numbers. But having that '89 team and Steve Fisher come back is tremendous. He's going to be available to the press for you guys on before the game. He's been he's excited. Angie's excited. I'm excited. And the same thing with that whole team. I think we have almost probably 80%, 90% of that team is coming back. So it's good, and hopefully they big karma into the arena.
Andrew?
Coach, you've got 3 starters, I guess, several players overall, maybe more known for their defense than their offense. How does that affect your lineup construction, substitution patterns when you know, again, what they're bringing on the defensive end versus maybe in the past how you would sub out for a guy, if that makes sense?
I'm more willing to take their defensive or offensive, if they're not having a great day offensively, and leave them in there than I've done in the past, just from the standpoint that I know that they're shutting down their man. And like when John was having that tough day shooting the other day, you know, Fernando hadn't scored, so it was John, just keep doing your job, the shots will fall, just don't let up on defense, and that was sort of the message. But I you know, because we still, you know, and I think you saw the other day David go in there and Brandon go in there, and who knows, we'll go in there in this game, that we're trying to lengthen the bench a little bit, but it still isn't out there yet. So we got 6 or 7 guys that we're confident will know a game plan, go in and run it and do it at speed. And 6 or 7 guys are going to play. I can't tweak it too much just because of that. We got to hope that some shots will fall, and they will. They will. I'm confident of it.
And then I feel like in the past around this time of year you've used the term outlier.
Yeah, we did it the other day. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you haven't said it with
Yep.
us, so you said it with your team.
Yes, sir, with the team. Yeah, this is important. Is it David? Is it Brandon, Colin Castleton? You know, is it Isaiah? Xavier all of a sudden, let's say he doesn't miss a 3 the rest of the year. I mean, it's very possible. He made 80. The other day shooting threes, he made 82 out of 100 on the move. 82 out of 100. I mean, that was like almost a Duncan Robinson number. So anything could happen right now. Our outliers could be anybody on the team. Charles the same way. Jordan, just somebody gets hot here and then also plays good defense. And I think you got to think of it that way. Possibilities are endless.
James?
After the game against Maryland, you mentioned David. It's his time now. Were you saying just that game, or is that moving forward?
I hope so as we go forward. I think he's really worked at it, and it's time that we go in there and see what he can do, right? And so I'm excited for him. His attitude in practice through all this thing of waiting has been tremendous, and I think that has a lot to do with both him and Brandon to get opportunities. They haven't sulked. They just keep coming back, and they know where their weaknesses were, and they've been working on them. And they're still not going to be mistake-free, but they're right now we do have to give people rest, even if it's, you know, there's 8:50 on the clock, and we have a media coming up at 8. If it's 50 seconds, it's 50 seconds I might not have trusted earlier in the year.
And none of these guys yet have been in a situation with 5 games to go, kind of in the, leading the pack in the Big Ten. I guess what's the key to the approach moving forward?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's prepared for that. When you go into it with all the media and all the exposure that we've gotten, this is a tremendous part of college basketball. They're getting to experience something that is really going to serve them a life lesson forever. And so they just day by day, let's just keep better, and all of a sudden these games just roll right by, right? So it's we have a tough stretch here in these last games, and the only thing we can control is today.
I believe Jordan is shooting 28% of threes over the past 10 games. How do you get him back on the right track here?
He just needs to make 1 or 2. I think if we go through this year, probably somebody has said that about Iggy. right? Somebody said that about Xavier, somebody said that about John Teskey or Charles, and it's just, you don't really address it that much. You just say, hey, they're going to start falling, just make sure you're taking good shots. And I think his shot selection the last couple of games has been good. The last game was good. I know he'd like to have some back from the Penn State game. So when he's open, he's going to shoot them in. He did yesterday in practice like crazy, so he looked like his old self yesterday.
I think you mentioned earlier that he was taking too many deep threes. Has that changed?
Yeah. It's particularly when we see a zone defense, he stands at the NBA line, maybe, and against man, he's not as guilty of it, but he still does it. I see him moving in a little bit, but we're probably not going to get him to toe the line just yet, because it's a spatial thing that he really can't control as much as you'd think he could control it.
John, last time you played Minnesota, it was kind of the first time this team has struggled all year. It was around that time because it just lost to Wisconsin in the Minnesota game. What's been the biggest improvement since then? I know the Penn State game, but also wins over Wisconsin and Maryland.
I think after that game, there's still some shock, I think, from the Wisconsin game of that how we had played so poorly. I think this was a game we shot 33%. We did have some good looks at times. We couldn't make them, and then we didn't do enough. We had some carryover from the Wisconsin game, and it wasn't good carryover. So I think over time they've sort of become more resilient. That okay, the loss did make us better because we did see how it resulted in a win here or a win there, and so it is it's part of the whole experience of them understanding that losses don't kill you, and you can grow from them.
Back right with Zach.
Sorry for another three-point shooting question. I think the team is 31% since December. Do you change the offense knowing maybe it's more than just a couple games here and there, or how much do you tell them work inside or get easier shots for you?
Yeah, I think that if we still have an open three, we're gonna take it. I don't care who it is, we're gonna take it. I don't think you can change that way because people are playing us that way. So what do? You take Xavier and say, I want you to keep driving the guy even though he's 10 feet off of you. When I saw him make 82 out of 100. You just got to have faith in them, let them keep doing it. They're sagging off Teskey, you got to shoot it. If he makes 1 out of 3, we're getting a point every possession, we're happy. So I don't think you change too much at this point. You just try to not take bad ones and not thirsty ones when we're all of a sudden got to have a shot.
I wonder why, when you like to have a lot of control over certain things, especially at this point in the season, and kind of know what you can know, why you are willing to just kind of say, all right, this guy who hasn't played all year, go do it. This is your opportunity. So obviously mentioning the Julius, why are you comfortable?
Because I see it in practice. I've seen it in practice. I've seen that look in his eye. I listen to the questions they ask. There would be times in December with many freshmen, you're talking and you're explaining something, and then you say, go in and do it. He has no idea what you're talking about. He just drifted off. It's 40th practice of the year, and he's used to 30 practices in a whole high school season maybe. And you lost him, and you realize that now David's asking me questions. Brandon's doing things that he would just turn around and look, like most freshmen. I have no idea where to go now, Coach. Now it goes to the right spot. So they build the confidence from the coaching staff in practice. That's their game time, right? And now we're in a situation where we see that, after that Penn State game, and we saw how tired some of our players were in the second half, particularly defensively. So you've got to, even if it's a minute here or a minute there, right? It's going to be key. And the combination of that and in practice, these guys showing us. The ball doesn't always go in, but they're in the right place, and that's important.
Ryan, you want to close us out?
Yeah, following up on that, is there a sense of urgency from David and Brandon and Colin knowing that there's only so many practices left to prove themselves and trust you?
There's been a sense of those two. I don't think there's ever been a thing where I'm dogging it today, where I'm not, this isn't important. I don't think they knew what was expected. It's such a different, you got 4 assistant coaches, you got 10 managers out there. There's a 1-minute water break, and everything's filmed, and you're under the microscope. I don't think they realized that how important every practice was, and it's not because they don't know that they're bad kids. It was just they didn't realize it. And now I think their urgency here in these last month is beginning to show what they have, whether it's their focus, everything, right? And we're seeing it. We're seeing good results in practice, and we're going to need those guys in games, and they could be outliers. They really could be outliers.
And what's that mean for Eli and his role going forward?
Same thing. I mean, Eli's been terrific in practice. He hasn't quite been able to put it together in games, but he's a guy coming off the bench. He and Isaiah really give us great defense off the bench. So if we feel defensively we need a spark, not our spark, but we don't want to, let's say, or Isaiah or Xavier's in foul trouble or he needs a blow, and their guard is giving us troubles. It'd probably be more Eli than David. If it's on offense right now and we're looking for some penetration, we're looking for something at the rim, or both of them shoot it about the same, then it may be David. So that's, they're both fill pretty good roles. But we'd like them both to enhance those roles. It'd be wonderful if those two become outliers here along the line, because Jordan Poole needs more rest, so does Xavier.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.